Hey, this is DC, Ace of Credit Restoration. I got a scam report for you. If you ever went to a payday loan business to get one of those payday advance loans and you did it online, instead of going to like a Amscot or something like that, if you did it online where you hear one of those advertisements on the radio, on your favorite radio station, AM talk radio station in the morning, they'll advertise, wefixmoney.com, get money now. They'll advertise those websites because they're getting paid to do it. So that's why they're putting it out. Well, anyway, the point is, if you go onto those websites, usually those websites are a hub for a bunch of different companies, hundreds of payday loan companies. And so you put your information into that website, and then it gets broadcasted out to all these payday loan companies. And these payday loan companies can be out of state, so they don't have to necessarily be in your state. You could be dealing with companies that's working outside of your state, and they also could be tribal payday loan companies owned by Native Americans on reservation land. And so what ends up happening is that you put your information in. You have to put in some private information like your social security numbers, your date of birth, your driver's license number, your name, your address, your pay cycle, what company you work for, how much you get paid. You have to put all this stuff in order to get through the application to get that money. Well, the price of that money is too expensive. Number one, the information that you're giving them, you're giving it to them really for free. And like I said, it gets blasted out to hundreds of companies. So that information in turn gets stolen from hackers, because those companies are not that secure with their security protocols to prevent hackers from hacking into their databases. So your information is getting stolen. And what ends up happening is you get that payday loan, and then you go and you get another one and another one and another one. And usually you get 3 or 4, maybe even 5 companies hitting you up saying, hey, we can give you X amount of $100, And so if you're behind in your bills, or you got something that came up and you need a couple $1,000 to get it done, you get 4 or 5 loans. Then what ends up happening is you've got terms on each one of those loans, and they're going to be in your bank account because you have to secure it with an actual check and not a debit card. So it's hard lined into your bank account, and they're going to have their hands into your bank account every week or every other week, and then they're going to be pulling fees off before anything touches the principal balance. So you're going to be paying high interest payments before you even touch the principal on that loan. It's really just not worth it. Well, the big scam in this is that, let's say you do pay off that loan that you borrowed, and you think everything is all good, and then a couple years later, the company is calling you up saying that you owe a debt from a payday loan you never paid, and they want the money now. They're telling you that they're going to come and send the police to your house to arrest you, or to your job. They're going to tell you that they're sending paperwork to your local law enforcement and to your local court system to take you to court. And they're basically using intimidation tactics to get any money they can out of you. It's hard for you to prove that you paid that company off because you more than likely forgot, because it's been so long. And like I said, some scammer got your money. So what ends up happening is they call you over and over again telling that you owe a debt, and so then they tell you, well, you can settle on that debt. We'll give you a settlement for, a fraction of the price of what you actually owe. They run the numbers up on you. If you borrow $500, they'll turn that $500 into $1,500, $2,000, and they'll tell you, oh, it's because of fees and penalties that you didn't pay it off on time and you were late and all this stuff. It's illegal. Companies can't do that. You can't get a credit card from a reputable company and spend $500 on that credit card, and then when it's time to pay it back, you owe $5,000. Can't do that. It's illegal. So, but this is what happens, and they get money from you, any amount of money they can get. You'll never get the settlement papers in the mail because it's not legitimate. But once they convince you that you owe this debt and they're harassing calls, you give them your information. And that's the big mistake, because now they're going to take that information and they're going to sell it. And usually it's one company that has a bunch of different small front companies. And they just switch the names and they switch the numbers on these companies. So it seems like it's different companies calling you, but it's actually one big parent company that's calling you, that's getting money out of a lot of people doing this. Bottom line is this: if you think the debt is real and you actually owe it, it should show up on your credit report. If it shows up on your credit report, then you can dispute it to see if that company can actually prove that you owe that money. If the debt is yours 100%, and if you're going to get into a settlement, never get into a settlement with any company unless you get them to sign paperwork, a contract that says they're going to mark this paid as agreed, report it paid as agreed to the credit bureaus. It's in your best interest always, if you're going to get a settlement, for you to have paperwork that says that this is paid as agreed. We have that kind of paperwork. I can send you guys a template. I can put a template out there for you guys, or you can just hit me up in my email, dc@asafes.com. That's dc@asafes.com. ASSAFES.com, and I can send you a template. But bottom line is, if the company is calling you and harassing you, they cannot send you to jail. There is no debtor's jail. They can't send you to jail for owing a debt. And if they're going to take you to court for it, then they're not going to call you and tell you we're taking you to court unless you pay us today. They're going to take you to court. That means they got to hire attorneys to do so, and the attorneys are just going to file the paperwork. You'll get the summons in the mail. Nobody has to serve you. You'll get the summons in the mail that you have to go to court for some debt. But usually they don't do anything like that because they just don't. It's just not real. So this is DC with Ace of Credit Restoration. Get your credit right, man.